Hey, what's up everyone, Random Porpoise here, and today we're back with another Planet Coaster video in Galaxy Lake Resort, working on the Intamin 10 inversion coaster. Today, so what we'll be doing is building the station. The station's pretty much, at least the interior is like, I'd say completely finished. There might be a few things I still do, but it's pretty much finished on the interior of the station. The outside needs some work, because it's still just a blank box on the outside, but the interior is like perfect. So yeah, and the queue line also, we do a bunch of the queue line seaters today, but not all of it. Like, it's more of just kind of doing like most of the fences for a good portion of it. There's not really any theming yet during the ride, so yeah, there's probably gonna be like 4 or 5 total episodes for this coaster. This is the second one for this, so like 2 or 3 more probably, I think, after this. I don't know, maybe I'll get it done in one, or maybe it'll take even longer. But yeah, I wanted the theme to be like kind of like a space mission, where the station is a space station, and when you get and you're kind of boarding your vehicle, it's like a space shuttle, and the whole coaster is you on a space shuttle, like doing stuff in space. I'm not really sure what that is. I have 2 like possible name ideas, which I think are pretty good, but I don't know if they're really like, there's something about both of them that just, it doesn't really have that kind of like, oh yes, it's perfect kind of vibe, you know? So the first one, which I think is the lesser that one of the two, is the Final Frontier, because like that's like kind of like a thing commonly associated with space, I guess. Not that it sounded cool. I feel like it's kind of too vague though, you know? Like, and this one isn't really about exploring, it's more of just like an action-packed space ride, I guess. Because I feel like it wouldn't really work. Although it might be something I want to consider for the future. Maybe for the Giga. Ah, fuck, I just spoiled the next coaster. Alright, well, we'll forget I just said that. But, yeah. And so the next idea that I have is Expedition Black Hole, which I think is pretty good. I wish there was, I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't feel right, you know? Like, Expedition Black Hole, like, I'll be fine with that. It's just like, I feel like I could do better, you know? That's kind of what I'm getting here. Like, I don't know. I'm just bad at naming things. I've seen a lot of people, like, struggle with naming rides in this game. So yeah. I don't know. If you guys have any name suggestions, just leave them in the comments. Like, I mean, for like any episode. If you have any suggestions on anything in this series, just leave them in the comments, please. If it's like you're just watching and for like half a second you think, oh, what if you did this? Leave it in the comments. I want to see your suggestions. I mean, it's cool. I like seeing, like, a lot of times also because, like, it's kind of hard to think of certain things to do. It's like, oh, how am I going to theme this? And if someone's like, oh, you should, like, I find a lot of times you need, like, kind of, I guess, criticism or suggestions. Like, it's really helpful, like, a lot of times, like, when people say, oh, what if you did this? You know? I think that can really help. So, yeah, I might use your suggestions if I see them. I might not, I don't know. It depends on how good it is and how much I like it and how much it'll fit with the ride. Like, if I see someone saying a really good idea, but it's, like, Western-themed, I'm not going to use it for this ride. You know? But, yeah. So, leave them in the comments. I feel like nothing's been done. I did do on the lips, I put, like, these little warning strips there. At first I started doing it because, like, I thought it would look cool, and it does, but what I ended up doing is just, it's like, I guess the explanation for it is why it's there is, it's a LSM lift hill, so if the LSMs do end up cutting off, like if the power goes out, it's kind of like an anti-rollback device, like it's a friction brake sort of thing. So yeah, because, like, I'm surprised, because, like, Maverick at Cedar Point has an LSM lift hill, and there's no anti-rollbacks, really. It's like, if the power goes out while the train's, like, on the lift hill, I feel like it would just go straight back into the station, you know? I don't know. Maybe there are rollbacks, I just don't know about them. But I wanted that to be here, because I feel like it was more realistic to have some sort of braking device. So yeah. The station is kind of like into 2 areas. There's the first area, which is where the little line, it's like the queue comes in right before you actually enter where you choose your row. And that's just kind of generic spacey space room stuff with like sci-fi computers and panels. And the other section, which I'm starting right now, is where you're actually boarding the train and like where you choose your row. And so that's kind of like, I decided that's going to be like kind of like an airlock sort of thing. And I used like some art pieces like at the start of each row to make it look like kind of like an airlock door. So yeah, that is that's kind of like what I do. And then I also replaced the fence with these more like futuristic ones because I just thought they looked cooler, honestly. Because I really want this to be decked out to the max, this coaster. I want it to be super well themed, like everything's themed, not one stone unturned, you know? So yeah, it's going to take a while to finish this. I'm probably going to get tired of it like I did Aviator. So yeah, I'm not really entirely sure like what I'm going to do like during the ride for the theming. I know I'm going to put a bunch of like sci-fi and like future stuff down, but like space stuff. Like I'm not really sure what that's going to be, honestly. So yeah, this is what I was talking about, the like airlock doors, these black things. I guess I'm not sure. Like I'm really proud of how the station kind of came out. Like when you're in the inside, it really feels like you're in a space station. Well, obviously not because it's Planet Coaster. And even if it was real life, you're still in line for a roller coaster. But it definitely feels like a space station, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, you're not in a space station, but like it really feels like futuristic, I guess. You know, and with the trains are pretty like a pretty modern and like sleek design. Like they're not like the old Aero Loopers or good old like Intamin prefab Woody train or something like that. Like they're the Intamin Giga Coaster trains. So they're pretty, not like super futuristic. Like the Vector trains are more futuristic. But I just feel like this would be a better fit for this ride, honestly. These trains. And I just think like they look really good and like fit with the theme too. Especially with the colors, like the blue and white cars mixed with like the blue and purple track and supports is just so cool. I'm so proud of the colors for this. I really can't wait to see the finished project and like how it fully comes out. Like I think it's gonna look beautiful, honestly. Especially like the blue and purple supports like for the Cobra roll when I do the custom supports for that. Oh, that's gonna be so good. I feel like I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like. Cause like Bizarro at Great Adventure has the same color schemes, but it's like really faded. But like I've seen pictures, I think. I don't know, maybe I might be just like making this up in my head without realizing, but I feel like I've seen pictures of Bizarro when it first got its repaint to blue and purple, and it looked so cool. And this looks so cool. Like the parts that do have supports already just look so nice, I feel like the colors at least. So yeah. And I did a similar airlock thing for that door there. But here you can see for this part I made it wider. I made it taller. And that kind of divides it. Because I felt like it would make, having that first part taller would make the other part where you're boarding, it would make it feel more like you're actually like in a boarding area, not just some open room, you know? And I think it worked. Like, cause like, I feel like maybe if all the station was the same height, not only would it not look as good, like in the wide area, because like I wouldn't have enough room for detail and stuff, but when you're in the area where you're choosing your row, I feel like it would feel more open and and you wouldn't really feel like you're being boarding something. Because like, let's take a comparison to like an airplane. If you guys have been on an airplane, which I assume a lot of you have, maybe not most of you because they are pretty expensive, but like, I mean, I don't know, like you've probably at least seen like what kind of an airport looks like, where you're kind of waiting in the terminal area, just chilling, and stuff, like kind of near your boarding gate, and then when your plane comes, they're like, okay, everybody, get on, and there's like the weird like tube tunnel thingy that's like a lot tighter, and that brings you actually onto the plane. I kind of wanted it to feel like that. So like this part here where you're waiting, and this open part kind of feels like that, and then you go to choose your row, and it's more like tighter, like the tunnel. Like I kind of wanted it to feel like that, so yeah, because it's realistic, I guess. Because like you don't really need it super wide when you're just walking from one place to another. So yeah, and I just put some random like sci-fi stuff here in the and like on the ceiling and the walls just to like make it look good. But yeah, there's not really any thought behind this. I'm like, what if I take some sci-fi stuff and do this, and then bam, it looked good. And it looked future-y enough, so yeah. Not sure what it's for, but... Who cares? Also, don't forget your helmet when you're getting on the ride. Because if you're in space combat, you're gonna need a helmet. I mean, I don't really know what for, because if you somehow, like, crash in space, you're dead. Even if you survive the crash, you're sucked into the vacuum of space. You are so dead. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the station. Did I build the roof? I don't know if I built the roof on yet. Oh, wait, yeah, I did. I'm such an idiot. I think that's it for, like, the station for this episode. Now it's all to the queue line. So I made this, like, at first I started off with, for the queue line, I made this, like, that I wanted to make supports out of these, like, light pieces, that have, like, a bunch of light panels on them. And it was just, it kind of looked chunky, and I didn't know how I would kind of fill in the gaps where there's, like, a turn or stairs. So I ended up deleting all that. And I decided to just go simpler with the art shapes, because then I'd have more customization, and it worked. And it made making the corners a lot easier, and then I decided what I'm going to do is, like, I'll add the details on later on so it looks more spacey. But basically, so far, it's really just the art pieces with some chain link fences on them. And I haven't really added much details yet. There's some parts where I have added details, like, on curve, on, like, turns. Like, I've added details to kind of mask the gap between the fences because there's not an even fence length. That would make it look good. And then, for the stairs, not all the stairs, but for one of the staircases, what I decided to do was kind of have, kind of like a black tunnel. Like, kind of like, if you guys have ever been on another comparison to real-life transportation, actually, this is pretty similar to, like, the airplane tunnel thing I explained. But, like, if you guys have ever been to, like, a major city and, like, with a bus's transport system, which is, like, every major city, and there's, like, have you guys, like, seen, like, some buses that have, like, two, like, parts of them? Like, I know New York has some buses like that, and so does LA, because I saw it in Shang-Chi. But in the bus fight scene in that movie, and in these real-life buses that have kind of, like, chairs that have, like, that, like, rubbery mesh thingy in the middle that kind of separates them so it can, like, make tighter turns. And you can kind of, like, walk through that. Yeah, I wanted that tunnel, this tunnel that I made, to kind of feel like that. Because you'd be, like, kind of like you're transferring from one area in the space station to another, you know? That's what I kind of wanted it to feel like, I guess. So, yeah. And I think, I did a good job. I'm like, so proud of how this stuff came out so far. That's Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England right there. I inspired that. I literally copied that exact airtime hill for the airtime hill before the Cobra roll on this, where it, like, goes from under a path, over the path, to under a path again. So, yeah. That was just during stream. I was like, oh, I'm going to show you what I did for this. You can tell, by the way, you can tell when I was building on stream or not. This is the tunnel I was talking about just, like, a minute ago. Where, like, inspired by the buses. But, like, you can tell if I'm streaming or not, like, in these time lapses. If at the bottom of the screen there's a black bar, that's when I'm just playing on my own, just recording, just, like, listening to music or watching a movie or something on my second monitor. Maybe talking to some friends. Not really, like, doing anything. I'm just playing casually. But, and now you see that now, but, like, if you can kind of see, like, my taskbar at the bottom and the please follow, maybe the occasional chat message or follow alert, that's when I'm streaming. That's how you know I'm streaming. So you can tell. Also, the stuff when I'm streaming, I usually have a lot less breaks. Like, when I'm, like, just playing casually, there's usually more breaks, like, parts where I just stop and do nothing, so I have to cut those out. The streams don't really usually have that, and I also sometimes, like, when I'm streaming, I just bring up, like, a reference image on screen to show the chat, and that's when you'll see that. Like, the Superman image. So, yeah. Now you guys can tell what I did on stream and what I did off stream. But yeah, so that's this is the bus tunnel, I like to call it. I think it looks, like, really good, because the main reason is because I had no clue what to do with these long ass stairs. Because I didn't want to play around with, like, sloping the chain link fences, because I knew that would turn out to be ugly. And it also kind of goes under another path, so I didn't want to make any weird stuff there. Um, so yeah, and it doesn't really, I mean, it does technically obstruct your view of the reverse flying snake guy, but I feel like it kind of doesn't because there's better views of that element from other parts of the queue. Like the part where it's blocking, like, A, it's already blocked by the path above it, kind of, and B, it's not even the greatest view of it, you know? So, like, that was, like, one of my biggest, like, should I do this of that part, because, like, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to, because I wanted to have the queue, like, you really feel like you're right next to the coaster at all times. Like, I really hate when the queue line's kind of, like, out of view of the coaster, especially when there's, like, not that much theming near it. Because that just makes it so boring. Because, like, there's nothing, you know? Like say what you want about, like, El Toro's queue being lazy, just 2 switchbacks. You're right next to those double camelbacks, which is cool. My favorite queue line, I've said this before, is probably Superman at Great Adventure. Because it's literally, unless the line is just super long, which I've never seen it longer than how I'm about to explain. Like, basically the queue line, it starts off with, like, some switchbacks under this, like, tent thingy, where it's, like, pretty enclosed. It's fully enclosed. You can't really see any. Well, you can see, but you can't really see anything outside of it, you know? I've never seen the line extend up to there. And then it goes out of that. It's, like, this huge, not really a tent, it's, like, this huge, like, tent building hybrid thingy. Because part of it's also the gift shop for Superman, which is at the end of the exit path, and you can also go in to get gift shop, like, through the exit path, like, from the path. The main path. But, so you go in, and then there's, like, this area, it's, like, you go into the kind of main plot of where the coaster is. It's this huge, like, grassy field kind of thing, and you're just right under the coaster. You come out of the tent, and you're right under the bottom of the first drop where it starts to go up to the plateau loop, and it's so cool. And it's, like, this long, snaky path with a couple of areas of switchbacks. Well, there's 2 areas, well, there's 1 area of switchbacks, actually, because, there's 2, but one of them, I think what happened was, they originally made it, but then they just never used it, and it got overgrown, and then Six Flags was like, alright, we'll just never use this. I think that's what happened, because, like, you can kind of see it, like, when you're in the queue, you go past it. I've never seen the path go through the first set of switchbacks, in this grassy area. And there's also, like, plants on them. It, like, looks really, like, I don't want to say unkempt, because it looks nice, but it, like, it looks cool with, like, all the, like, plants kind of growing everywhere. But it looks like no one's really it looks like Six Flags doesn't want that to be part of the path, the queue path. So, yeah. And then there's a little later on, there's another area of switchbacks at, like, that's just a normal generic area of switchbacks, and then bam, you're at the station. And once you exit that white tent thing, every single part of the queue is, like, directly under the coaster, and, like, you get a great view of every element. It's so sick. And there's also, if you somehow manage to get bored with that too, which you probably will if it's, like, an hour and a half wait, and then there's also, I don't know if they still have it because I haven't been on Superman in a while, but they have, like, some of the coasters at Six Flags, including this one, have, like, these TVs in the queue with, like, generic Six Flags stuff. Like, I think the Six Flags TVs are a lot better than the Cedar Fair ones, though, because Cedar Fair is just, like, fun TV, here's some generic random shit trivia, and the occasional behind the scenes of how they built Mystic Timbers. And then Six Flags, at least at Great Adventure, they have, sometimes they play Looney Tunes cartoons, and it's actually pretty cool, if you get a good view of them. They also do, like, a lot of, like, trivia, but, like, stuff related to the park, which is cool, and then, like, sometimes they do, like, behind the scenes, like, construction stuff. But, like, I'd say overall, like, Six Flags' TV network, I guess, is, like, it's actually pretty good, and it makes, like, a long and boring line more enjoyable. So, yeah. Another thing they have in Superman's queue, they have, like, a bunch of comic panels, that kind of explain, like, Superman and all the Superman people, like, the super people in DC, which a bunch of the DC-themed coasters at Great Adventure do. This, Green Lantern has some of them, too, and so does Bizarro, which I really respect that. I think it's really cool, because, like, not only does it's better theming, like, it immerses you in the storyline more, I guess, kinda. It's just an entertaining thing to do while you wait, you know? Like, it makes it slightly better, because you're like, ooh, cool, it's Superboy. I've never heard of this man. Why does Superman have a son? But, alright, let's read about him. It's pretty cool. So yeah. And, like, I don't really usually wait too long for Superman, because, like, it's just Superman. It's not the best in the park. You're at a park with El Toro, King Nakad, Jersey Devil, Nitro, Batman, Green Lantern, and Bizarro. The big 7. And you're gonna wait 2 hours for Superman Ultimate Flight? Yeah, I don't want to put, like... I feel like at least with my opinions right now, how they stand, Superman's it's the only of, like, the major thrill coasters that I wouldn't say I want to try and get on every time I get to the park. I mean, I do want to try to get on it every time, but, like, it's the one that I feel like isn't... I feel like it's the worst of the big thrill coasters. It's not bad. It's still really good, but, like... It's just, like... I don't know. Just everything... It's really just that the park has so much better stuff to do in it, you know? That's the only reason that I'm not the biggest Superman fan. Like, at like, any other park within the tri-state area, it would be so good. Like, New England, solid number 3, probably. I haven't ridden Riddler's Revenge, though. And apparently it's, like, really good. Lake Compound's easily number 2. Because, like, what do they have besides Boulder Dash? I mean, I guess Phobia Fear, but that's Phobia Fear. And yeah, we're in the POV now. I didn't even realize. But yeah, like... yeah, Superman's just Superman. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And yeah, peace out.